Okay, let's take a look at creating a custom drip campaign now. So we want to go ahead and log in to mykw.kw.com. Come on over to My Marketing, Manage and Create Campaigns. All right, so we're going to do a custom campaign on here. So we want to do add a new campaign. If you wanted to, you could always choose templates to piece together to make your own from the campaigns that Keller Williams has provided us here. But in this video, I want to show you how if you were to create your own marketing, you could put that into these campaigns. So I'm going to come down here on the left to create custom campaign. Click that. I could decide if I wanted it to be an interval campaign where they got an email maybe every 2 weeks, every month, however you want to do that. You could set that up. But for this one, we're going to do a date campaign, and I'm going to show you a real quick example of a holiday mail out that we could do, email out that we could do. So date campaign. You'll see in here step 1 is choosing the name of your campaign. So let's go ahead and call this one Holiday Example 1. Save and continue that. Next, you get to add the steps that you want to add to this campaign. So I'm going to come in here and do edit. I'm going to do add a step. I want this first step to be an email, so I'm going to add a step there. Now this is where I could choose one of these and just put this in, and that could be my step. But for this example, I actually want to show you real quick the template that I choose to use most often when creating my own custom material in this. I've just found that it works the best. If you scroll to the very bottom of all of these choices, which will take you just a minute to get there, as you can see, there are a lot to choose from. This is the slow way of picking this one, but it is called Anniversary Red. On the next one I'll show you a quicker way of getting that, but you can click Anniversary Red. I want to personalize this design. So just like it does when you're setting a campaign that's already been created, you can personalize this email. So I'm going to go ahead and come in here and get rid of that. And for this top part here, I'm going to add in a picture. And I'm going to put in the Keller Williams Indy Metro West logo up there at top, make that a little bit bigger. And I like to center it. You can do this however you want yours to look. That's how it needs to be. Okay, and then I'm going to come down where this happy anniversary picture is. I'm going to select that. And I'm going to go to Insert Image. So I actually created some material in Canva. It took me just a couple of minutes to use their templates and alter them a little bit to be my own. So I'm going to come to Upload Image, select File, and I have all mine saved on a USB. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to do New Year's Eve. And I want to go ahead and upload that. Close that out. And you can see that it is uploaded. Make that as big or as small as you would like it to be. I try to keep it inside of the lines that were already created for me there, just so that it looks good on the actual email screen. And then down here where it plugged in, can you believe it's been another year? I want to get rid of that. And I want to give them something of value on this email. So I actually went over to my Playster site and I created a blog for a My Mimosa recipe bar that you could put out at a New Year's Eve party or any kind of celebration where you're celebrating and you already have the champagne. So I'm going to go over to Barton Realty and I'm going to come down to the blog that I created for this example. I'm going to click on that. And then that URL code is going to be up here in the top. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back over and where it has the Insert Edit Link button, I'm going to choose that. Put the URL in there. And then for the text, I don't want it to be that boring URL. I want to say looking for the perfect cocktails for your celebration. Click here. And I'm going to put new window because I want them to open it in a new window so that they can remember that my email is still open in one tab, and that is where they got this valuable information from. So there we've got it all set up. For some reason it didn't import my mobile the way I like it to, so I'm just going to edit that real quick. And then it brought my cell phone number in twice. So I'm going to change that. Everything else looks good. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to preview it. I can now see what that email looks like. I can send myself a test email just to make sure that link is working. Back to edit. I'm going to go ahead and save it. I'm going to call it, I'll just call it the date that I'm going to put it in. You can name it whatever you want, New Year's Eve, drink recipes, whatever you want to name it that. While that's saving, I'll come over and show you what it's actually going to look like in email format. So you can see this is exactly what it's going to look like when the client receives that email. And just to make sure, I want to test this link, make sure it sends them, yep, sends them right over to the right place. So we're good to go there. So I'm going to come back. I've already saved it, so I'm going to go ahead and exit. And then it's going to ask me, do I want to edit it again? Do I want to publish it to the web and share it? I actually want to add it to the campaign, so I'm going to click Add to Campaign. I'm going to change the schedule date over here to the 31st. I want this to go out on New Year's Eve. And I'm going to call this Looking for the Perfect Cocktail for Tonight's Celebration. And I've got that step one created and added. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to do add a step. I could choose an activity, I could choose a direct mailer, but for this instance, I'm going to do another email. I'm going to say add that step. And then I know I want to use the anniversary red, so I'm going to come over to keywords and I'm going to put in anniversary. Oops. It's going to pull that up for me a little bit quicker than scrolling down like last time. Come in and I'm going to personalize this again. Try reloading that. That was taking a bit too long. Try that again. See if it loads up this time. Okay, there we go. So in this one, the bit of valuable information that I'm going to be providing is actually the listing search that I have on my website. So I'm going to come over to listing searches. I'm going to pull that URL, and I'm going to come over to insert link. I'm going to put that in. I'm going to change this text to click here, fall in love with your next home. And I want them to open that in a new window, so I'm going to hit OK. That's going to be centered there. I'm going to go ahead and throw in the KW Indy Metro West logo. And I'm going to go ahead and center that. And then where my anniversary is, I'm going to come in. I've already uploaded my Valentine's Day one, just like I did last time, my USB. I'm going to input that. And then down here, I'm going to say, let me find you a home that you love. Call me today to start your search. And this is where I could also put in emojis or whatever else I wanted to put in there, you could add in there. And again, I'm just going to leave my information in here the way it is for this example, but I might want to edit that if I had some more time. So I'm going to do a preview again just to make sure that that's good. If you would like to, you could send yourself another test email just to make sure. I do recommend you do that for every one of these that you create just to make sure everything is working properly. But I'm going to go ahead and save this one, and I'm going to call it V-Day. And I'm going to save that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add that to my campaign just like I did before. So now I need to change the date. I want this to come out on Valentine's Day. So that is February 14th. And I want it to say, ready to fall in love with your next home. And I'm going to save and continue. So you could continue to add as many steps as you want, whether they're direct mail, an activity of calling your database, whatever it is you want to add, you can add in here for those holiday steps. But I'm just going to do these two for now for this example. I'm going to hit save and continue. And it is going to keep all of those steps in there for me. So I'm going to do add or remove contacts. Let's say I just wanted to add a group in here. I'm going to use family for this example. I would just hit that group, do save changes, and then I could review and activate. I would just want to click whether I want to include showcase properties and that I understand the compliance agreement for this and put them on the next drip campaign, whatever I would like that to be, you can set that. And then once you click these, it's going to give you the option to activate the campaign. So you could go ahead and do that. This is not done, so I'm not going to activate it, but you get the idea of how to create your custom campaign.